Psychology coach and professor Dr. Andrea Dinardo applies positive psychology to facilitate personal growth and transformational change. In her TEDx talk and on her psychology blog, she discusses how to thrive under pressure using 3 stress resilience tools: challenge, commitment, and control, a framework for self-actualization used throughout her coaching, teaching, and speaking practice. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Thank you for having me.
So you recently posted something that really spoke to me, and it was about energy management as opposed to time management. And I think in our current circumstances, because we're all struggling with how to manage our time, this is a much better way to cope.
I appreciate that it struck a chord with you. And what I have been telling my psychology coaching clients and my psychology students is, including you, Candace, because you're officially adopted, is that whatever tools you used before the pandemic are applicable now. And even more so. So in addition to my TEDx, one of the reasons I talk about energy awareness is that I value my time with people so much that I am very choosy about who I spend time with. Now, I wasn't at 20, I am at 50, and I know you can relate. So that when I'm with you, I want to give you the best of me. So the idea of energy awareness and energy management versus time management is we don't have control over time. We don't have control over basically 99% of what happens in this world, but we do have control over how our body, our mind, our soul reacts to a situation.
Well, I think what I really hit me was, I think that when you are managing your energy better, you are actually effectively managing your time better.
Yes, 100%. So if I'm energized, I'll be able to do something that might take me when I'm not energized, I can do it in 20 minutes. But if I'm not energized, it could take me 4.5 hours. Right? So yes, you're more effective in your work, you're more effective as a student, you're more effective in your relationships, but most importantly, in a world that we have less control than we've ever had, you're in charge.
Let's break down those 3 tips then, those 3 C's for people.
The first thing is you want to be, the first one I will call debits and credits. So think about that every day you're given $100 to spend of energy. So you want to make sure that there are certain things that you have to do. Now, as a writer, as a podcaster, as a radio host, Candace, you're going to have to go on Facebook to do the research. Don't get sidelined. So that you only go in there with a very limited amount of time so that you can use your energy properly. Because part of that is, and now what I'm talking about applies to your daughters, applies to every age group. As a psychologist, I worked with age 4 up to say age 75. So all of this applies. So part of debits and credits is also in your life, who depletes you, who energizes you. So often I'll get the yeah, but it's a family member. Yeah, but go in your room and lock the door. Yeah, but it's a family member. Have you seen the block button on your phone? So there are a lot, so take responsibility and accountability for that.
Okay, excellent. So then that leads us to the next step, which is what?
Put a time limit on with your friends and family that we can deplete our energy because everybody has a story. As you can imagine, people come running for me when they find out that I'm a psychologist because they have a story.
Right, well, we all have a story to tell, right?
Story. So we want to put a time limit on the blaming, the complaining, the whatever it is. This also includes the self-talk. So that as we talked about earlier on your podcast, is that we don't want to discount the pain. That being in a pandemic, no matter whether or not you have a job or you don't have a job or different parts of the world, it's very disruptive. So that if you only have an hour of dinner with your daughters, then you're going to take your phone, or better yet, put the timer on the stove, because we all have that. And for every hour, everybody gets 10 minutes, not like 10 minutes in total, however you want to do it, have a talking stick, but say a one-on-one relationship between you, you get 10 minutes of basically a complaining session, because so you want to save your energy for solution. So you want to save energy for your dream of interviewing Michelle Obama. So think of problems being on Pluto and solutions being on Venus. So if you spend all your time on Pluto, you're never going to get to Venus, and Venus is where your dreams are.
Okay, I love that. And I think too, another thing is, as you were speaking there, I was thinking, as people become more in tune with their energy, and if it's being depleted, if as it's changing, they're naturally just going to be putting those time limits on those interactions anyway, correct?
Yes, because what our body is, and I teach a course called Health Psychology in the nursing program, and they have to be very conscious of their energy. As you can imagine, a young nurse, I'd say 80% females, they're going into it because they're the saviors. They're the caretakers. And I have to, with them, help them realize that if they're not careful, they're going to experience what's called vicarious trauma. So that you could feel for somebody, but feeling the pain of somebody having cancer does not make you a more effective nurse. So exactly like you're saying. So just that closing your eyes and tuning in, does it make me smile, or does it really make me want to cry? So that doesn't always serve you.
Okay. And the last one then, number 3.
And number 3 is energy is everywhere in ways that we've never seen before. Like, look at us having this conversation. The way that we're connecting is incredible. Also, all my courses are now online. All my coaching clients are all by telephone. And so I want to be able to separate myself from the energy of the Facebook, the Twitter, the Blackboard, or whatever. And one way of doing that is a ritual. So before I go on to my online class, I put combat boots on, and I literally stamp my feet on the ground. This is me, and that is you. And that definitely helps. And then part of that anchoring is what you do with your time. So compare the grounded nature of talking about soul, spiritual, future, what ifs, dreams, all that kind of stuff versus, did you see what she was wearing? One's junk food, what I call junk time, and one's soul food, what I call soul time. Not all time and energy is the same. So when you work out, I know that grounds you. I know that energizes you. And when you do these interviews, it does the same thing. So that kind of time and energy, because really they're together, but that kind of time gives you more. So if every day you have $100, that when you have this conversation like this, you actually leave the end of the day with $300.
Right.
And if you go the other way, if you're in toxic relationships, if you are always gossiping, we all like to do it. Real Housewives shows, they're fun, but that's not all you want to do. That what happens is, instead of that $100 that you start your day with, you end your day at a -50. And that's when you get into health psychology issues, and then it ends up being a physical problem. Because when you see something in your body, whether it be cold, virus, or any of those things, it happened, like you think about the virus, it happened 14 days earlier. So that's why you have to be so conscious. So when we talk about karma, it's like our body's karma. Like, we have to be aware, and we're in charge. We're like the queen, we're in charge.
So if people want to watch this TEDx talk then and learn more about this, where can they go? Where can they find that?
2 ways. One, they can go to my website, which is a psychology blog, and I have about 350 posts on psychology and thriving under pressure. So my TEDx is Thriving Under Pressure. Google Thriving Under Pressure, drandreadinardo.com. I also have a YouTube channel. And I'll say, Candace, I appreciate this so much, because my dream, my North Star, is to make psychology accessible to everybody.
Well, I am here to help you get there then, because I absolutely think psychology should be something we should all be learning. We would be so much better equipped to deal with each other and to deal with the things that are thrown at us in life. Thank you so much for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Candace.